And here is the Artist's Almanac for February 4th, 2018. It's the birthday of French painter, sculptor, and filmmaker Fernand Léger, born in Normandy in 1881. Léger was born to a peasant family in the rural town of Argentan, France, on February 4th, and his father was a cattle dealer who hoped his son would follow in his footsteps and choose what he deemed a practical trade. Although Léger was initially discouraged from becoming an artist, his father became supportive once he recognized Léger's gift for drawing. Léger later applied to the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts and was unfortunately rejected, and instead began his formal art training at the Paris School of Decorative Arts in 1903, while also being unofficially mentored by two École des Beaux-Arts professors who recognized his potential. Up until this point, Léger's painting style blended Impressionism with Fauvism, until in 1907, when he attended a retrospective of Paul Cézanne's work. From then on, Léger's work took on more elements of Cubism, but with its own unique style of slicing forms into tubular cylinders, casually referred to as Tubism. In 1914, Léger put his art career on hold to serve in the French army during World War I. Léger spent 2 years in a frontline trench at Argonne, and in September of 1916 almost died after a mustard gas attack by the German troops, counting Léger as just one of 1 million casualties suffered at the nightmarish 10-month Battle of Verdun. Léger's experiences in World War I had a significant effect on his work and increasingly incorporated elements of modernism, particularly representations of machinery and human figures throughout the 1920s and 30s. Fernand Léger painted up until his death in 1955, shortly after winning the grand prize at the São Paulo Bienal, earlier that same year. Despite his relative lack of ubiquity in our present popular culture, Léger's 1913 painting, Contraste de Forme, sold on November 13th of 2017 for a not-too-shabby $70,062,500. It's also the birthday of civil rights activist Rosa Parks, born in Tuskegee, Alabama in 1913. Parks' maternal grandparents were both former slaves and civil rights activists in their own right, and her childhood brought early experiences with racial discrimination and activism for racial equality. On one occasion, Parks' grandfather stood in front of their house with a shotgun while Ku Klux Klan members marched down their street. Rosa attended a segregated one-room school in Pine Level, Alabama, where school buses took white students to their new school, and black students had to walk to theirs. "I'd see the bus pass every day," she'd say. "But to me, that was a way of life. We had no choice but to accept what was the custom. The bus was among the first ways I realized there was a black world and a white world." On December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks refused to obey bus driver James F. Blake's order to give up her seat to a white passenger. 3 black passengers complied with the driver, but Rosa refused and remained seated. Blake demanded, "Why don't you stand up?" to which she replied, "I don't think I should have to stand up." The driver called the police and had her arrested. Later, Parks recalled that, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired, but that isn't true. I was not tired physically, or no more tired than I usually was at the end of a working day. I was not old, although some people have an image of me as being old then. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in." Parks' act of defiance sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, becoming an important symbol of the modern civil rights movement. She became an international icon of resistance to racial segregation, organized and collaborated with civil rights leaders including Edgar Nixon and Martin Luther King Jr. Parks went on to receive the NAACP's Spingarn Medal, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Congressional Gold Medal, and a statue posthumously erected in our capital's National Statuary Hall. The First Lady of Civil Rights, Rosa Parks, died in October of 2005 at the age of 92, and was the first female civilian ever to lie in honor in the Capitol Rotunda. Thanks for listening. Be kind, do good work, and until next time.